Welcome back to Powered by Primus, and in today's video we're going to be talking about a combiner that they just spoiled. Normally I want to wait a little bit and figure everything out behind the card, but I am so excited to talk about it, and I'm more excited to hear how you guys feel about this as well. So let's dig into this new character. Now, this character is absolutely crazy, and there is an insane amount of stuff to talk about, so we're just going to start by the top and work our way down. The combiner's name is Volcanicus. Now, I already want to start with the name. A lot of people are already mispronouncing it. There is a second C in the end, so it is Volcanicus, the Fiery Champion. One thing to note about this character is it a Dinobot, and it is a melee character. Now, we'll get back to the Dinobot stuff later on because it's actually a huge piece of a conversation that I want to have about this character. But let's talk about all the cards that can really benefit from it being a Dinobot and a melee. The cards that really get to benefit on the melee side are going to be things such as Body Armor and Power Sword. And if you don't know anything about Dinobots and Bold, is that they have a really good relationship. So being able to give this thing Bold 3 from Power Sword is going to be really good, and then also being able to give it to Tough 3 as well is also going to be really good. And the next two coming in to help out on that Dinobot side is going to be Jaws of Steel and Dino Chomp. Now, Jaws of Steel gives Dinobots Bold 2, and then Dino Chomp is going to give Bold 5, but is also going to make you scrap your hand. Now, normally scrapping your hand isn't really a bad thing, but can sometimes really hinder what you're going on with. However, there's a character specifically that we're going to show here in just a second that is totally okay with you not having any cards in your hand. Now, the next thing I want to get into with this character is going to be his stats. He has 6 attack, which is really powerful, and most of the time, again, you're going to be throwing a lot of orange at your opponent as well as a lot of bold, so that 6 is going to be a pretty rare number that you're only hitting with. The next thing is that it has 56 health. Now, you're not reading that wrong. It's 56. We originally thought that cards such as Metroplex had 35 health was crazy. Then Predaking came out and was like, 35, whatever, I'll raise you 2. But now we have Volcanicus who came out and was like, you have no idea what health is like. Let me show you 56 health. Now, if you don't know anything about the combiners, is that when you do combine your characters, all that damage from the other characters that are KO'd or currently on the characters that you still have on your team all gets placed onto the combiner. So they rarely will ever come out with the number that they have. But again, I have something here later on that I really want to bring up that might turn this character from great to kind of broken. And the next is the armor, which is 0. Now, I don't think that this is a huge deal. I like the fact that it's 0 because this character does have a crazy amount of health. Having 0 armor just allows your opponent to really kind of have a fighting chance once Volcanicus does come out. And this character ability says, when this attacks on the turn that he's combined, for each battle card you flip that has at least 1 orange battle icon, you get to do 1 damage to the defender. Now let me break down this ability for you if you are just a little bit confused. Essentially, on the turn that it's combined, if you attack, flip the top 2 cards of your deck and reveal a Peace Through Tyranny and a Supercharge, you will do 2 damage to the defender. It doesn't matter if you have 4 double icon orange cards that you flip, or if you just have 4 single orange battle icon cards you flip. This ability only checks to see if there's 1 battle icon card at least on the card you flip. So as long as there's 1, you would do 1 damage to the defender. The next thing about this ability is that it triggers a lot like Cosmos and a lot like Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend. Before your opponent gets to flip, if let's say you do 2 damage to your opponent and it KOs that character, they indeed fact will not flip on the defense because they were KO'd before they even got the chance to defend. Now, I know that can be a little confusing, but again, if it does kill from the direct damage of this ability and not the regular damage of the attack, your opponent does not get to flip to defend. However, if the 2 damage, let's say, goes onto that character, they survive the 2 damage, then you will allow your opponent to flip to defend from this character's attack. Now, the next part about this ability, which I'm happy it's only on the turn that it is played, because we're going to show you guys a card later on that will automatically give it Bold 2, but Dinobots and Bold, again, have a very special relationship. And if you were to give this thing, let's say, Bold 5 off of a Dino Chomp again, now this thing is going to be flipping 5 more additional cards when it attacks. So that means you're going to be flipping 7 cards. If you happen to flip a white, now you're flipping 9 cards. And you can see if you have a bunch of orange battle icons in that flip, it is pretty easy to do a bunch of direct damage to that defender before they even get to defend. And I think it is a really powerful effect. And I am glad that it only happens on the turn that it is combined, because if it was continuous, this card would be even more powerful. Now the next thing is that this character is an Autobot, which is kind of obvious, especially with the top left being a name and them all being Dinobots, but there are cards that are going to be able to specifically work with this character that we will go over here in just a second. But the last thing I want to talk about is the star count. Now before your eyes pop out of your head like mine did, you are seeing the star count correct. It is 39 stars. Now there is some debate with this, seeing as how I'll show you guys the Enigma here in a second. It doesn't specifically say that you have to achieve 39 stars amongst your characters to be able to play this. So I'm still not quite sure why it's 39 stars. But we will get into here in just a second, showing you guys the character cards, is that normally with the combiners, which is what we saw with Predaking, there were 5 characters who were all 25, or who were all 5 stars, so combined they equal 25. However, none of the Dinobots, which we currently have in Wave 1, or any of the ones I'm going to show you guys here in just a second, are 5 stars. So when you combine them, there's no way they would make 25. So the first character I want to talk about is going to be the main character of the team, and that's going to be Grimlock, Powerful Commander. Now Grimlock is a leader, so you're going to be able to get access to cards such as Matrix of Leadership, is a Dinobot obviously, and is a melee. Now one thing to know about every single alt mode that we're going to show you through all of these next few character cards is that they are all vanilla, meaning that they have no abilities. Now while you are in Grimlock's alt mode, you have 4 attack, 13 health, and 0 armor. When you flip over into his bot mode, he has 4 attack as well, and he has 1 armor, and has an ability is what really makes this whole thing work. It says that when this attacks, you get to choose a Dinobot you own from outside of the game, put it into your KO area in alt mode fully damaged. Now again, the reason why you're doing this is because all that damage is going to carry over onto your combiner when you do play the Enigma card. However, this ability really breaks the game, being able to pull a Dinobot that you own from outside of the game. I'm going to bring up something here again. I know I keep talking about me showing it later on, but it's only because I want you guys to fully understand why I'm talking about it here in just a moment. But this ability I see a loophole with, and I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I believe I'm right, and I'm hoping that you guys will be able to chime in and tell me if I'm right or wrong. Now what this ability does mean is that again you get to go from outside of the game and put a character into your KO area. Now if you guys do look at this star count, is that Grimlock is 9. There's no way that you'd be able to again hit those 25 star amongst your 3 character cards or 4 character cards, because you can only reach 25. So you're obviously going to be missing a few of your pieces to make Volcanicus. So what this allows you to do is that when it attacks, you're going to go get one of those other characters that help combine to make Volcanicus and put it into your KO area fully damaged. You are going to have to do this twice to be able to get all 5 characters, seeing as how Grimlock and 2 other characters are going to make almost up your 25, but if you were to try to play 4, you would actually go over the 25 star limit. So again, the way that this ability is going to work is that once this does attack, you are then going to go outside of the game, picking obviously one of the 2 characters that you're not running to make up Volcanicus, automatically put it into your KO area in its alt mode with full damage on it, as we would currently do for any character that would get KO'd. One thing that we do know is that a character cannot be overkilled essentially, so whatever the health is on the character, if it is KO'd, it has that amount. So let's say, just using Grimlock here as an example, if Grimlock were to get KO'd, it would only carry 13 damage even if 17 damage was dealt to it in the turn. The next and final thing I want to talk about with Grimlock and a few of the other characters is that they are all rares. This is a rare combiner. Now the part that really piques my interest with it is, are they going to change the rare count in a box? Currently right now it's 2 to 3 that you average, but all 5 of these characters are rares. So trying to get all 5, if they do keep that same 2 to 3 character rare card in a box, means that you're going to have to go through a lot of boxes, or these cards are going to reach really high prices on the secondary market, seeing as how you might have to go through 7 or 8 boxes hoping that you get these, especially with all the other rare cards that are going to be in the set as well. I'm really hoping that this opens the door to maybe having 4 or 5 rares in a box, making these a little more accessible, but also finally giving enough super rares when it does come into opening and paying for a box. And then if maybe there is a super rare in the box, then maybe it's like 2 rares and a super rare to kind of combat that high rare count. I would still be totally fine with that. The next character we're going to talk about is going to be Dinobot Swoop. It is a Dinobot, obviously, in both modes, and then it is a specialist in both modes, accessing cards such as multi-mission gear, multi-tool, and a few other cards. It does have 3 attack while in alt mode, 11 health, 1 armor. Again, it has a vanilla, all of them do while in their alt modes, and then if you go into its bot mode, it has 4 attack, and it has 1 armor. However, it's got this really fancy ability that says that after this card attacks, you get to put a battle card you'd flipped this attack that has at least 1 green battle icon into your hand. Now, normally the way a green battle icon card works is after the attack or after the defense, you get to scrap a card and then put a green card into your hand. However, with Swoop, it automatically puts it into your hand and you don't have to worry about scrapping a card. The next part about the ability is that let's say you happen to flip 2 individual cards that both have at least 1 green battle icon card. You can use Swoop's ability to put one of them into your hand, and then after the attack, you get to still resolve the ability of the other green, scrap a card from your hand, and then put that into your hand. So if you happen to flip 2, you can get 2 green battle icon cards from a flip when attacking specifically with Swoop into your hand. I think that's going to be a lot of fun, and I think that's going to have a lot of really cool interactions, seeing as how we have a few green battle icons already revealed, also with the Enigma that it does take to make Volcanicus. Coming in next is going to be Dinobot Slug Battering Ram, and I'll tell you that this card definitely fits its name as a Battering Ram. Now it is a melee character, again giving you access to cards such as Body Armor and Power Sword, but it has 3 attack while in its alt mode, 10 health, 3 armor. You flip over to its bot mode, it carries over that 3 attack and that 3 armor. However, its ability says when this battles and you flip your first white battle icon card, you get to flip 3 extra battle icon cards for that white instead of 2, meaning that you'll get to flip 1 more card. Now the cool thing about this ability is it's not when it just attacks. It says that when this battles, meaning even if it's on defense and you're defending and you happen to flip a white, you get to flip 1 more than just the normal 2. Now, I do think that this ability is really cool, and what my guess is with it is that it may be a future mechanic, which is really cool because I could see a lot of different characters really being able to benefit from this ability. I do like this card a lot. I am really excited to see how well it does. Coming in next is going to be Dinobot Sludge. The interesting thing about this is that Sludge is not a specialist like he is in Wave 1. He is a melee in both modes. While in alt mode, it has 3 attack, 12 health, 2 armor, and when you flip it over to its bot mode, it has 3 attack and 2 armor. It also says that when this attacks and you have fewer cards in your hand than your opponent, you get to draw 2 cards. Now, I think that this ability is really going to be awesome and is going to trigger pretty often. Usually with Dinobots, you're kind of more on that aggro side of things, meaning you're going to be playing as many cards from your hand as you can in a turn to really maximize your attacks. In addition to that, I did talk about Dino Chomp earlier, which makes you scrap your hand. Now, Dinobot Sludge does not say that you have to have 0 cards in your hand. It just says you have to have less cards than your hand. So if you have 2 in your hand and your opponent has 3, you're automatically drawing those 2 cards. Or you play that Dino Chop, scrap your hand, give Sludge, bold 5, attack, draw 2 cards off of that as well. Now this thing does say that when this attacks and you have fewer than in your hand, you would draw 2 cards. So you will be drawing the 2 cards if you do get it to proc before you flip for the attack. And coming in as our last Dinobot, we have Dinobot Snarl. Snarl's melee in both modes, again giving access to all his previously talked about cards, while in alt mode has 3 attack, 9 health, and 2 armor. You flip over to his bot mode, you have 4 attack and 2 armor. It also says that when this attacks, you plan 2. You get to put up to 2 cards from your hand on top of your deck. Now this ability I believe is going to be really powerful because you're able to stack the top when it does come to attacking. What I mean by the stack is that when you do go to attack, you get to put 2 on top. Now you could do things crazy as putting 2 Peace Through Tyrannies on top, meaning that when you definitely attack, you're going to be guaranteeing 4 orange battle icons show up. You could also put something such as an improvised shield on top and a white battle icon card on top to make sure that you flip over 2 more additional cards when attacking and still getting the 2 off of that previously placed card. Now, the one thing to note about plan is that it is not a may. That means that you are required to do it. So it says when this attacks, you put 2 cards from your hand on top of your deck. You do not have a choice. So you really want to try to maximize what you put on there, because let's say you don't want to put a card that you want to play next turn on top because you're going to have to flip it when you attack. Now, one trick to this is going to be the Enigma card. Originally, I was like, oh, this kind of sucks because then you have to put that Enigma card if you only have 2 cards in your hand out. But the Enigma card has a green battle icon. And if we go back to the original stuff, even if you put a green battle icon card on top of your deck, you flip it, and as long as you have 1 left in your hand, at the end of the combat, you can then discard that card from your hand and put it back into your hand. So it is going to take a little bit of planning, with no pun intended, to make sure that you're ready to attack with this card. Again, if you only have 2 and one of those is the Enigma card and you just throw this out there, you're going to have to put those 2 on top of your deck and then say goodbye to your Enigma. And now I'm sure you're wondering how we're going to be able to make all of these characters come together to create Volcanicus. And it is going to be the Dinobot Enigma. It does have a green battle icon, meaning that you're going to have plenty of chances to get this either from drawing it or from flipping it from attacks. Especially with Swoop, being able to instantly put it into your hand is going to be great. Now it is an action and says if you have Volcanicus on the battlefield, he gets bold 2 until end of turn. If you have 5 Dinobots in bot mode on the battlefield and or in your KO area, combine them into Volcanicus, the Fiery Champion. A combiner begins untapped, has all damage from the combined characters, and keeps 1 upgrade in each slot. So now there's a lot to break down here, so let's start with the top. It says if you have the Volcanicus on the battlefield, he gets bold 2. What this means is that on the turn that you play the original Enigma to combine your characters, Volcanicus will not get bold 2 because he is not on the battlefield when this officially goes off. It's after the fact. So if you happen to play a second Enigma or a third Enigma, you are going to be able to give Volcanicus bold 2. Now the next thing is that you have to combine the 5 Dinobots that are in your battlefield or in your KO area that are in bot mode. Now this is specifically important to note because when you do use Grimlock's ability and you bring a character from outside the game, they do go into your KO area into their alt mode. Now we do have a fancy rule that is coming out with Wave 2's launch that says you can use one of your flips for the turn, or sorry, your only flip for the turn, to flip a character in your KO area. That means that you are indeed going to have to flip over that character because they come in an alt mode over to their bot mode to allow the Enigma to be able to trigger to bring out Volcanicus. And finally, you carry over all of that damage that are on the KO characters and your characters on the battlefield to Volcanicus when he does come out, but also gets to keep 1 upgrade in each slot. What that means is if you have 2 characters out, let's say that both have a weapon, you choose one of those weapons to carry over to Volcanicus. Same thing goes for if you have 1 weapon, you have 1 armor, and 1 utility amongst your characters. Each one of those cards will also carry over to Volcanicus, and he will have those cards on him when he comes out. Now comes the moment that I've been wanting to talk to you guys about, that I am extremely interested in hearing how you guys believe that this is going to work. Now, what I'm going to tell you is how I think that it's going to work. But if you look at Grimlock's bot mode ability, it says when this attacks, you choose a Dinobot you own from outside of the game. Now the trick is, it does not specify the Dinobot. It just says a Dinobot you own from outside of the game. And this is where it gets a little broken for me. It does not specifically say it has to be a combiner. So if you can bring back any Dinobot, what Dinobot am I specifically talking about bringing in? And it's Sludge. So I'm sure you're wondering, why Sludge? Well, really, you can bring back any of them. You can even put your other Grimlock into your KO area as well. But with Sludge, and it's an ability that we already see get used a lot with Dinobot build that's really powerful, is Sludge says that when you flip to this mode, you may move any number of damage counters from one of your other Dinobots to this one. It's at this point where I hope that you start to see the combo I'm talking about. You attack with the Grimlock, you get to put Sludge into your KO area because it's outside of the game. But you can also still put Sludge in your normal team lineup. And then you can just still, when you attack with that Grimlock, put any of your other combiner characters from outside of the game into your KO area. Again, it doesn't specify. As long as your star count reaches that 25 number or lower, you're fine. Yes, it's going to take you one additional turn to be able to get Volcanicus out because you do have to attack again to put yet another character into your KO area. But putting Sludge into your KO area is going to allow us the combo we use now, and that is I Still Function. I Still Function says that you get to return a character that has 12 or fewer stars from your KO area to play with 1 health left. The ability we use now is you have Sludge die in his bot mode, you bring him back with I Still Function, and you remove all damage counters from either Grimlock or Snarl, whichever character that you have or you're attacking with, and then Sludge will automatically die, which is fine because he got to heal. Well, and I hope now you specifically see. If you bring out Volcanicus, all the damage gets put on it from your combiners, which is fine. You I Still Function Sludge back, and you heal Volcanicus back to a full 56 health. So I would love to hear from you guys how you think that this interaction works. The reason why I say that is because I've played many card games, and being able to bring something from outside of the game can always lead to game-breaking rules. And this, like I said, does not specify which Dinobot. It just says a Dinobot from outside of the game. This Sludge would count. Or, again, you put the Sludge in your team lineup, and then you bring back one of your combiners from outside of the game and place it. The other thing about it is even if you don't run this Sludge in your opening team, you use the Grimlock's ability to pull it from outside of the game, it comes in its alt mode, which is fine because, again, we have that new rule now that allows you to flip characters in your KO area. You flip it to the other side, his bot mode, I Still Function back for still that combo. Now, the thing that makes it so powerful is the fact that Volcanicus has 56 health. So running whatever numbers that you feel like running, even if your opponent has happened to kill 2 of your characters that are out, let's say an average of 10 health, they've done 20 damage to your characters. You bring out Volcanicus, that first turn you're playing the Enigma, so you're not going to be able to play the I Still Function combo, but your opponent manages to hit Volcanicus for, let's say, 8 damage. Great. So your opponent has done 28 damage. They have tried all of this, and your Volcanicus is now going to have 28 less health. You then play that Sludge on the following turn, heal him back to 56, and now your opponent has to go through 56 more health to beat you. And underneath this scenario, you're looking at 84 damage total that your opponent is going to have to do to you in a turn, or in a game, sorry, and that is a lot of damage, especially with how hard you're going to be hitting with these Dinobots. I honestly don't know how the games are going to go. This might be too powerful. The even crazier part about it is that you can run 3 I Still Functions. And because you have 56 health, the game is definitely going to go longer because your opponent has to spend so much time trying to beat this character down, even if they have 2 characters going against your one, or even if they have 3 characters that are attacking you at a time. Let's say the following turn, you get to play that I Still Function, flip it again, and you get to do it all over again. So it is just an absolutely insane ability. It is crazy. So please let me know what you think down in the comments section below. I'm also going to try to bring this up into other media sources and talk about it because I am so interested about this ability. And as soon as I find out if I am correct with this or if I'm not correct, you guys will know right away. So there is our second combiner, Volcanicus. There is so much with this card. It is absolutely crazy. I am both looking forward to it and not looking forward to it coming out. I hope you guys did enjoy this video and this update. If you did, a like would be greatly appreciated. And if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe for more. Whew. We'll catch you guys in the next one.